Hi everyone, welcome to round 12 of the St. Petersburg tournament from 1895 that Lasker won. In this game he's playing Mikhail Chigorin, and I actually kind of really like this game. Supposedly there's like some psychological undertones to it. Now Chigorin was not doing very well in the tournament, and he liked to play sharp, complicated positions. So keep that in mind as you look in this game. As you can remember, from the past World Championship matches, it was Evans Gambit after Evans Gambit when he played Steinitz. Bishop b5. We have a typical Roy Lopez type position. Knight d7 is kind of a weird move, whatever. But now, Lasker immediately tries to simplify the position. And I even see an annotation here, so I'm going to read it to you guys. This moment needs to be explained. Chigorin was the best Russian player at that time, having his own sharp style. He was known as a very combinative player who liked complications and could produce very nice tactical ideas. However, in the St. Petersburg 1895-96 tournament, Chigorin was completely out of form and lost a lot of games, in each of them making big mistakes. With his seventh move, Lasker simplifies the position, and during the whole game we see this tendency. Lasker wanted to have a simple and clear position with no tactical possibilities for black. Now, do we know for sure this is what's going on in Lasker's head? Not really, but it's worth thinking about. So d takes, knight on c takes e5. Knight takes e5. D takes e5, knight c3. Bishop d6, queen g4. Castles, bishop h6, queen f6. So this is a good move because now bishop h6 looks like it attacks g6 and there's no other way to defend it. However, this gives up the d7 knight, but on the other hand, it gives up, if we take on d7, black's going to get the bishop on h6. And note that this doesn't work because of queen takes g4. So therefore, after bishop takes d7, queen takes h6, bishop takes c8, rook on a takes c8, rook d1, queen g6, queen e2. And he writes something else here, or somebody wrote this annotation. I actually don't know who it was. Another important aspect, exchanges will be made only if white can get some advantages out of them. I mean, I guess. The position should basically be about even here. But Lasker's idea is that if he just keeps the game simple with some tiny, tiny little edge, then maybe Chigorin will overpress and collapse at some point. So queen e6 was played. Rook to d3. Rook on c to d8. Rook on f to d1. And now black goes bishop e7. Wanting to kind of just trade all the pieces on the d-file and just make a draw. White responds with knight to d7, knight to d5. And note, if we don't go knight to d5, black can go c6, keep our knight out of d5 forever. Knight d5, c6, knight takes, queen takes. And as you can see, the position looks very reduced in material. It looks like it should be a draw. There's nothing that... There is one advantage for white. We control the d-file. So that can't be understated. White is definitely slightly better here, with no risk at all. However, black should have the resources to hold on here, but it's not easy to defend in chess. And Lasker shows that. Rook to e8, queen to d2. Rook takes, queen takes. And the annotation here says, of course black should be able to make a draw in this position, but he cannot force it. He must patiently make moves and wait, which proved to be a difficult task for the out-of-form Chigorin. King f8 was played, a totally natural move to bring the king closer to the center. Rook to d2, h6. So now I have a question for you guys. What should white do? g3 or h3? Which one looks more standard here? All right, I'm going to show you now. A lot of times h3 makes more sense, but in this case g3 should be stronger because when we put our king, when we kind of nestle our king on g2, it's closer to the center of the board, and being that it's an endgame, that helps a lot. h3 and king h2 is just a little too passive. There's no reason to put the king one square further away from the center of the board. So g3 was played. Rook to c8. Queen to d7. The idea of rook c8 maybe was to go rook c7, followed by king e8, followed by rook d7. So white wants to trade queens on this. White wants to get the 7th rank. Of course, black is not going to allow this rook to just show on the 7th rank. So instead, he plays rook to c7, and white moves the queen away to f5. Now, if king e8, white's going to infiltrate with queen to h7, and that's going to be really annoying. So in the game, black played g6, stopping queen h7. White went queen f3, and now black played king to e8, trying to just force this trade with rook to d7. Why didn't he go rook to d7 immediately? Probably he was concerned about queen to f6, attacking this pawn, perhaps threatening h8. So instead he played king to e8, and now white played queen e3, queen to g5. So my question to you now, pause your video and figure out what you would do for white. This is the main question of this video. Okay, I'm going to show you the answer now. Lasker played a very tricky move. Queen takes g5 looks okay, we double the pawns, but doubled pawns are not really a big deal here at all. And honestly, trading from an h-pawn to the g-pawn usually does not weaken your pawns at all. When you trade from the rook file to the knight file, your pawn actually gains some scope. You can now capture two ways. And therefore, those types of doubled pawns are not serious at all. So that would be relatively even position if he took the queen. Other possibilities are simply queen to d3, queen to e2, just kind of keep the tension. However, he had a very nice move. It's very simple to miss. f4. And it looks like, whoa, wait a second, I can just take, and after you take with the queen, I could either, maybe queen c5, but probably just trade queens, go rook d7, and black should be fine here. The key point, however, though, after e takes f4, which Chigorin played, white is not going to go queen takes f4. White is going to go queen to d4. And suddenly we have a problem. We're threatening queen to h8. So let's say white makes a random move. Check, check, and checkmate. And the sad news for Chigorin, turns out to be absolutely no way to stop it. After queen d4, the game is over. Chigorin resigned. So pawn takes pawn was a huge blunder. He simply had to move his queen back, if I recall correctly. And I can't really remember what happens after. Okay, I think if take, we can just take on b2 because we're covering the h8 square. So instead, white should try f5. And white has some small initiative and still has plenty of chances to win the game. But Chigorin was a little rusty in this tournament, and after e takes f4, queen d4, he was forced to resign. Not only was he rusty, by the way, he's just a significantly weaker player than Lasker in every stage of chess. I think that's pretty obvious. But a nice game from Lasker. He just kept things super simple and was able to kind of force a lot of mistakes. Or actually, just one mistake. This is the only big mistake Chigorin made, but that's all that he needed to win the game. Thanks, guys. See you next time with another video. Bye-bye.